Let me give you some words to fill in the blanks. Here we go. Number one, upper right-hand corner. I like to be liked. I like to be liked. Number two, I like to express my ideas and feelings. I like to express my ideas and feelings. Next, I like to be in front of a crowd. Oh, they always like a crowd. Next, I like surprises. I like surprises. Next, I like lots of fun activities. Lots of fun activities. And next and last, I like recognition. I like recognition. So if I'm working or counseling or prospecting someone and I say to them, do you feel like you're more outgoing or you more reserved? And they said, I think I'm more outgoing. And then I say, do you feel like you're more task-oriented or you more people-oriented? And they say, oh, I don't know. I have some of both. And I said, well, which one do you feel like you are the most? Well, I don't know. I guess I'm people-oriented. You follow me? They're outgoing and people-oriented. Now I have a place to start working with them. I'm not pigeonholing them. I'm not trying to categorize them. I'm not labeling them. I'm trying to understand them, and that gives me a starting point. I know they're going to like to be liked, and they want to express their ideas and feelings, and they like to be in front of a crowd, and they like surprises and activities and recognition, and that helps me begin to work more effective with them. Look in the lower right hand. We're going in clockwise order. Look in the lower right hand quadrant. Here we have the S types. The secret tip for the I. Secret tip for the I. It's nice to be important. It's more important to be nice. All of those who raised all of those who said, I'm more outgoing and more people-oriented. Let me see your hands again. Let's give them a big hand. All of the high I's. By the way, you know when high I's do their term papers in school that were assigned 6 weeks ago? You know when they do them? The night before they're due. They stay up all night, and then they walk in and toss them on the teacher's desk with the attitude of, you are so unfair. I had to stay up all night to get that finished. Some people graduate magna cum laude. Some graduate summa cum laude. High I's graduate thank the Lord. Okay, bottom right-hand corner. Let's look at our sweet S's. Oh, these are the sweetest ones. Let me give you the 7 words. Number one, they are supportive. They are your supportive types. They love to help. They love to support. Number two, stable. They're very stable. They like a stable environment. If you're going to rearrange their office, you need to give them about 3 years' notice before you do that. Next, they're very steady. They're very steady. They like the steady approach to life, one thing at a time. They have certain clothes that they wear certain days of the week. They like to save things, you know, because they just like an environment that's steady and stable. Next, they are very sweet. They just are very sweet. They want to help you. They have a sweet attitude about things. Next, they love the status quo. The status quo. Word number 6, they tend to be a little shy. A little shy. Supportive, stable, steady, sweet, status quo, shy. Here's their danger zone word. Here's where they get in trouble. The D's sometimes are too defiant. I's are just illogical. S's, sometimes you're a sucker. You're just a sucker. The hardest word in the whole English language for these to say is the word, that's right, the word no. They don't like to say no. They want, let's all get along. Let's all be happy. Let's hold hands. What do you say? Let's sway. All right, here we go. Just everybody together. I don't know if you saw the movie, The Fiddler on the Roof. Tevye standing at his milk wagon one morning, and a man makes a political statement. Tevye looks at him and says, you know something, my friends, you're right. A minute later, a guy on the other end of the milk wagon makes sort of an opposing political statement. Tevye looks at him and says, you know something, my friend, you're right. And the guy walked up in the middle and said, wait a minute. First you say he's right, then you say he's right. They can't both be right. He looked at the man and said, you know something, you're right too. And that's the S's. You want to know if you're an S, somebody can tap you on this shoulder and say, it's kind of hot in here today, isn't it? They'll look over and say, it is warm in here. 2 minutes later, the person on the other side can tap them on this shoulder and say, it's kind of cold in here today. And they'll look over and say, it is chilly. These people are human chameleons. They just want everybody to get along. They want to know what it is that you want them to say, so they'll say it so we can all have peace and harmony, and we can just all be friends. Why can't we just all get along with each other and just be nice to each other? My third daughter, oh, thank God I got one S. The S's, they're the easiest ones to raise. They're the easiest children because they tend to go along. And one day Elizabeth came home and she had been babysitting 3 children down the street. And she walked in the house and she was going. And I looked at her and I said, did something happen? And she said, no, oh no. I said, oh, I bet something happened. No. Come on, tell me. Do you really want to know? Yeah. See, S's, you have to drag everything out of them, you know. Because they just don't sit real still. They don't want anybody to bother them. So I said, tell me. She said, Dad, the personality stuff. She said, it's so helpful. She said, tonight, I was babysitting 3 children down the street, and at bedtime I said, okay, time to go to bed. She said, they looked at me and said, we're not going to bed, and you can't make us. She said, Dad, I think they could tell I'm a high S. And she said, and I knew I was supposed to be in charge. And she said, I just got all scared inside, and then I thought of the personality stuff. And then she said something I had never heard anyone else say quite like this before. I said, well, what did you do? She said, I knew I was supposed to be in charge, and I knew they were trying to run over me. And she said, but I looked at those 3 little kids, and I lowered my S, and I raised my D. She said, I looked at them and said, let me tell you something. Your mother and father put me in charge, and if you don't do what I say when they get home, I'm going to tell on you, and you're all going to get a spanking. She said, they looked at me and said, we're going to bed. She said, Dad, give me 5. This stuff works. And, of course, that story's in the book, Positive Personality Profiles. You've had a chance to read it. But I thought, did Elizabeth change her personality? No, but did she get it under control? And that's what we're trying to do. That's the goal, is to not walk out of here today saying, well, this is what I am, but can I get myself under control? Can a D say, I'll be in charge, come on, let's go? But a D can also say, you be in charge this time and let me help you. An I can say, I love to tell a story. An I can also say, I think I'll be quiet and give you the chance to talk, you know, because they're always, see, they don't listen. When you're talking to them, they're thinking about what they're going to say the first time you take a breath. But S's just like to support you and they like to help. Let me give you some, fill in these blanks. Here we go. I like to be accepted. I like to be accepted. Next, I like teamwork and cooperation. I like teamwork and cooperation. Next, I like sticking with what works. I like sticking with what works. Next, I like harmony. I like harmony. Next, I like things to stay the same. I like things to stay the same. And the last one, I like routine. I like routine. Secret tip, don't be afraid to say, what part of no don't you understand? How many of you raised your hands earlier and you said, I'm more reserved, but I am people-oriented, the S types? Raise your hands up real high. Let's give them a big hand. All right. Bottom left-hand corner, the C's. They're the ones sitting here thinking, I want to make sure we get as much time as the others because I want to do this right. All right, here we go. Here we go. Number 1, let me give you 7 words. Number 1, they are cautious. C-A-U-T-I-O-U-S, cautious. Number 2, calculating. C-A-L-C-U-L-A-T-I-N-G, calculating. Some of you are catching on to this. See, the C's are sitting here right now thinking, you should have been spelling all of these words. There's no telling how many misspelled words are in this room. And I'd like to check them during the next break. See, the D's are sitting here thinking, who cares? Just who cares? We got ours. That's what was important. The S's, of course, the S's are sitting here thinking, well, if you want me to check them, I will. I mean, I'll help you on that. Of course, the I's are all sitting here going, what? 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 Cautious. Calculating. Number 3, they are very competent. They're very competent. As I said before, they proofread Xerox copies. They're just so smart. They can do anything because they're so smart. Next word, they're very cognitive. C-O-G-N-I-T-I-V-E, cognitive. Next, boy, here's a tough word. I'll help you. Conscientious. C-O-N-S-C-I-E-N-T-I-O-U-S. Conscientious. Next word, they're very careful. They are very careful. I love the C's because they're very careful. Medical doctors, lawyers, airplane pilots. Listen, every time I fly, most of the pilots, they're high C's. They'll say things like, we're traveling at 29,000 feet. We're going 612 miles an hour. We left at 8:14. We'll arrive at 11:31. Nothing that even matters to anybody but them. You know, you're sitting there thinking, who cares? But wait. I would much rather have them up in the cockpit. Because if I ever get on a plane and the first thing I hear is, hey, hey, Jose, we're on our way, I'm getting off. I don't want my pilot to be a high I. I don't want my pilot to be a high D either. You know, he'll attack other planes as we're flying. I want my pilot to be a high C. Last word, watch out. Here's where they get in trouble. God bless them. I love them. You're so smart. You're the ones that make everything in the world better. You invent electricity and lights and heat and air and cars, everything. You're so smart. But here's where your danger zone. Sometimes you're just too cold. You're just too cold. Lighten up a little bit. You know, laugh. Your face won't break. You know. When Donna and I got married, I did not understand her and she didn't understand me. One day I came home and I said, we are going to Florida. And she says, do you have a map? I said, I don't need a map. I know where Florida is. It's below Georgia. She said, well, have you made hotel reservations? I said, no, there are hotels all up and down the interstate. We'll find a place to stop. She said, well, how many miles are we going to go tonight before we stop? I said, I don't know. I don't even want to go now. I didn't understand her. She didn't understand me. Watch carefully. Remember, take your finger here again. Put your finger back in the box wherever or the quadrant where you were earlier. Okay? One's not right or wrong. One's not good or bad. They're just different. Okay, now notice this. I'll do mine and you do yours. Okay, my finger I'm outgoing and I'm people-oriented. It's in the I box. Wherever yours is, whatever quadrant it is, notice this. There are two other quadrants right beside you. And those are called your secondary traits. Those tend to be things that you use a lot, but they're not your passion. Your passion is where your finger is. That's your primary trait. But there are two on either side. But notice this. There's also one diagonally across from you. And that is probably what you know least about and who you married. Isn't that amazing? I wish you could stand up here and watch what I saw. Here's what it looked like. Here's a look. See, we marry somebody who is opposite of us. I think God designed it this way because they see a side of life you don't see. They see things. Listen. If you didn't have the C's, you wouldn't be organized. But you C's, if you didn't have the I's, you'd have no fun. And the S's, you need the D's. Without the D's, you won't be successful. But D's, without the S's, you'll have no friends. See how we need each other. Let me give you some words to fill in the blanks. Here we go. I like to be right. I like to be right. Next, I like to know what is expected of me. I like to know what is expected of me. Next, I like an established pattern. I like an established pattern. Next, I like clear instruction. I like clear instruction. Next, I like finishing what I start. I's are great starters, but they're terrible finishers. But C's don't like to start anything, but when they do, they finish it. Excellent characteristic. That's why it's good to team them up and to help each other. Next, I like organizing things. I like organizing things. Let's go around those letters real quick. I forgot to give you this. The D's, 10%. It's usually 10% of the population. I's, 25 to 30. 25 to 30% of the general population. S's, 30 to 35%. They're the most. C's, 20 to 25%. 20 to 20. If I were to say to you, now, after the next break, we need to all stay and clean up the room. The D's would say, I didn't mess it up, I'm not cleaning it up. The I's would say, could we order a pizza while we do that? The C's would say, how did that get to be my responsibility? I'm not on the maintenance crew here. I had to pay to come. Somebody else is supposed to take care of that. You know what all the S's would say? I'll do it. I didn't want to eat dinner tonight anyway. You just all go ahead and go.